Diwali is also coming. So before
Yeah.
that, if we get that talk, it will help us to meditate more.
No, that this talk is probably okay. Yeah, I have to.
20th October is Kali Puja.
Oh, the 19th. Yes, probably 19th.
19th, yes.
The day before is my talk. Yeah. All right. We'll start with the peace chant. Sure. Peace chant. Let's do it together. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitam Astu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. Om. May the all-pervading Spirit protect us. May the all-pervading Spirit nourish us. May we work together with great energy. May our study be illuminating. May love and harmony dwell amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. So we are studying Katha Upanishad. We have just finished exploring the idea of an ideal teacher and an ideal student in the context of the Upanishads. Who will be an ideal teacher from which, if we learn Upanishads, it will be of greatest use for us, give you of greatest benefit. And in the same way, who is an ideal student? We have explored all of these in last few classes. We have shared ideas. Then we also wanted to see what Upanishad has to say about a good teacher and a good student. And then I also shared my ones, which are illuminated. So next two verses continue the idea that in this tradition, the Upanishad, knowing our spiritual nature through the means of Upanishad, how important the role of a good teacher is. So if the teacher is not competent, then there could be many doubts, and we don't have a clear grasp of our ideal, where we are trying to reach and how to reach. This clarity we lack if the teacher is incompetent. Whereas if the teacher is a realized one, then the student has no other result than reaching the goal. Student has no other option than to reach the goal if the teacher is right one, realized one. And then Upanishad brings another idea that there could be confusing, there could be a lot of confusions about the nature of our spiritual reality. And that is a valid thing. It is told in different ways, differently, so one can be easily confused, indicating that all the more the necessity of a good teacher, why it is needed. And it also says that the logic, the usual logic that we know about, does not help us much in our spiritual journey. So logic is a weak help, logic the way we know it. And if we try to explore spirituality On our own, it's good, but there could be a lot of confusions. Just like open up anything, Gemini, ChatGPT, or Google, and ask how to be happy. We'll see so many ideas about how to be happy that after reading some of them, we might be even confused. What is the real happiness is, how to test the real happiness. So the next two verses, we shall read together, and I think 5 important concepts have been described in these 2 verses. Okay, worth exploring and taking some time. Verse number 2.8 and 2.9. Na nareṇa avareṇa proktaḥ eṣaḥ su-vijñeyaḥ bahudhā cintyamānaḥ ananya-prokte gatiḥ atra na asti aṇīyān atarkyaḥ aṇu-pramāṇāt. The Atma cannot be fully understood when taught by someone who is unawakened. Even if you analyze it in many ways with logic and arguments, you won't truly grasp it. But when you realize Master teaches, there is no room for doubt, for the self is subtler than the subtlest and beyond the reach of logic. In the same vein, the next verse is, so this verse says that cannot be fully understood when taught by someone who is unawakened, and logic and arguments differently can be applied, but we truly won't grasp it. And this Atma, our spiritual self, is subtler than the subtlest. That is why beyond the reach of logic. The next verse is, na eṣaḥ tarkeṇa matiḥ āpaneyā proktā ananya-eva su-jñānāya preṣṭha tvam āpaḥ satya-dhṛtiḥ bata asi tvādṛk na bhūyāt naciketaḥ preṣṭha. This truth cannot be attained through logic or reasoning alone. It must be taught by one who has realized it. O beloved Nachiketa, you have gained this wisdom because of your firm resolve. May there be more sincere seekers like you to ask such profound questions. So again, Yama, the teacher, is telling Nachiketa that how reasoning alone won't help. A realized teacher is needed. And also, finally, praising Nachiketa, who stuck to his original demand that he wants to know what happens after we die. Although he was given a lot of other options to pursue, he was offered many other enticing things and positions and powers, but he chose only to pursue the question that what happens after we die. So Yama is praising that sincere student like you is so much important, and we want such students more and more. As I said, that these 2 verses have 5 important ideas which we should take time. Let's take little slowly these 5 ideas, These are important ideas. The more clarity we have about these ideas, the more benefit we will get from the Upanishad. So first idea is an incompetent teachers can't help. Avareṇa, that is an incompetent teacher. So an incompetent teacher means here, in the context of incompetent teacher, those who have not realized the truth themselves yet. Those who only have intellectual knowledge about the truth, but they themselves have not tested, directly intuited, or experienced that the reality, what the Upanishad is telling about our true nature. So they don't live up to the truth, but they intellectually might have good grasp over the subject. So we might gain some idea from such a teacher. It is not that they are absolutely of no use. No, we learn a lot from them, but ultimately they cannot help us to show the path and other problems that come in due course of the spiritual journey. They cannot help us in that matter. It is not, yes. So the thing is that the thing that has to be taught by the teacher is our subject of inquiry. The thing that we are trying to know is not an object of knowledge. Our quest is knowing the knower, knowing the knower. And the knower cannot be known. So we can only be abiding in knowing, pure knowing, that is not even having any object for knowledge. Awareness itself, it has been very nicely said in many granthas, Shuddha Chaitanya, Shuddha. Shuddha Chaitanya means awareness, consciousness. Then why another word? Shuddha means pure. We know that Chaitanya itself is pure. There is no impurity in consciousness. There is no change in consciousness, so there is no impurity in consciousness. But then why pure consciousness? The pure consciousness is awareness itself, which is a non-dual and actually non-conceptual reality, a non-conceptual realm of existence. So that is what we have to have. That is what we have to have. And that has to be clearly shown along the entire journey, how to access that non-conceptual reality. And this cannot be done unless someone has had some experience, some challenges, some breakthroughs, some obstacles they themselves have found, and how they have conquered those obstacles themselves. Without doing all of these, one who has not gone through all of these cannot be a good teacher when it comes to real spirituality. So that's why all other subjects can be learned from a person who has grasped over the subject intellectually, or even you may say they are dexterously, means they are very good at playing the instruments and things, and hanging out with them, you can learn them, but only those who have theoretical knowledge about a musical instrument, or theoretical knowledge about a sport, cannot be a good teacher. because they have not played the thing. Okay. Similarly, incompetent teachers who have not themselves struggled to walk the path, to experience what is being taught intellectually. So those teachers cannot help us ultimately. Ultimately, that is the point, first point of this verse. And any question, if you have, go ahead, ask me. Oh, just me. Do you have to unmute? Yes, yes. I'm sorry. Hello. Yes.
So these verses seem to set up kind of like a duality between a competent and an incompetent teacher. So
Yes.
there are two options here.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
Yes.
the competent teacher is one who is realized, and
Yes.
the incompetent teacher is one who has mere technical knowledge.
Yes.
So I would like to, I don't know, offer a modest critique of that framework.
Yes. Yes.
It's not from the Upanishad itself,
Yeah.
but just from my own imagination.
Mm-hmm.
That there's actually like three categories of teachers. There
Mm.
are the incompetent ones who
Mm.
are neither realized nor do they know the scriptures or the logic. And
Mm.
then there is a middle category of teachers who know the scriptures and the logic and can
Right.
explain it very well,
Mm.
but maybe are not realized.
Yeah.
And then the third category of teachers who are realized.
Yes.
And among the three,
Yes.
avoid the first category,
Yes.
but you can gain a lot from the middle category.
Yes.
Even, even if they are not realized or whatever that means,
Yes. Yes.
they still have much to offer.
Much to offer. Right.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
then there may be another category who is realized but doesn't know the theory and the logic, and they
Yes.
cannot
Yes.
explain it. Or
Yeah.
maybe that's four categories. I don't know.
Yes. Uh, You know,
Yeah,
in fact, there
yes.
will be another fifth category, in between, those teachers who have intellectually understood the matter and they are striving, means they have not realized, but they have really progressed quite a bit.
Right, right,
They are another type of category,
right.
Yeah. And yes, of course. And the kind of you said, this is very important thing you told, that there are some really people who they can have experience, highest kind of experience, but they did not have anyone to guide them, to explain what has happened to them and the pathway, the whole scope of the thing, paradigm. No one told them. So they might have had one realization and they did not know what to do with that. They might have had also the illusion that we are realized one. Okay. So the thing that they had once realized, it was powerful one, but they could not continue holding on to that. And later on, even they might even their life can even go downhill. might even go downhill. That is another possibility. True. It is said that, uh, of course, I have heard, and I am, but personally, I have no opinion about it. That Whitman, the poet, he had really powerful spiritual realizations, but he could not interpret it through any paradigm like Vedanta or Buddhism or non-duality. So he had it, but the full benefit of realization actually was not could not be observed in him. He still had periods of depression, and that one realization could not really lit up every aspect of the personality of Whitman. Okay, so that is also a possibility. People like that. Yes, I see raised hand, but let me also add how unrealized people can do harm. Carl Jung, such a great psychologist, he has, like one of the greatest contributors to the psychology that we know. He came to know theoretically about meditation, about Eastern way of meditation. He did not practice meditation. So he theorized that meditation means you are digging up your unconscious stuff, things from your unconscious level. And that, according to him, was surrendering to the unconscious. So he said we should avoid meditation at all costs, at all costs. But he himself did not meditate and did not find the benefit of meditation. So I believe many of his followers who had a spiritual bent of mind were discouraged from pursuing meditation. Okay, so this verse says that avareṇa, the incompetent ones, if you try to get, if such a teacher, you may get some idea about the goal and the path and the metaphysics of the path, but they may not take you to the right way. Okay, it may be a problem. Yes, yes. Betty, go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask a practical question regarding the rarity of a realized teacher.
Yeah.
And where that puts us,
Mm.
and I'm thinking, that also the scriptures are our teacher,
Yes.
So would you comment on that?
Yes, yes. It is true that such a teacher is indeed rare. In fact, it was told 2 verses ago. Aṣarya-dhṛtiḥ, kushalasya labdha. As such a teacher, the realized teacher is aṣarya. Really is such a wonderful thing. Does not happen. So as Paul said, we can take help from them who have been following the path, and it appears from their life that they have solved some of their problems, internal problems. It appears they don't have major problems, or at least it may appear that they are trying to follow the path sincerely, and something in them shows about that quality that they are following. Probably such a teacher can be of practical help.
I think also a consideration is having one teacher, or not dispersing your attention to too many different sources too.
Yeah, that is also a possibility. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Betty, thank you. Yes, Rick, go ahead.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yes. It's interesting that you mentioned this Whitman. Now, here's a guy who was a great wordsmith.
Yes.
He could speak beautifully.
Yes.
And yet you say he did not know. And I think that that's what happens on the intellectual path. We learn how to speak the words without knowing exactly what's behind those words.
Yes.
And the teachers, and I've heard it said, that you cannot tell from the manifest side what the teacher knows on the unmanifest side. It's not visible. And since pretty words don't indicate it, it's sort of a quandary. So I don't know. And then if you learn the words, or you think you have learned something, then what? Then it is your own experience that is your teacher.
Hmm.
Your own experience. You mentioned Carl Jung. There is a video of him where an interviewer is talking about does he believe that there is a God?
Hmm.
And he says, no, I don't believe it. I
Hmm.
know it.
Hmm.
Okay? So his own experience teaches him.
Yes.
And then the rest is all chatter. It's all just chatter. Even with the with all the Indian philosophies,
Yeah.
one contradicts the other, or
Yes.
one expands the other,
Yes.
or one negates the other.
Right.
So which is true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, that is the next point. I said that this verse speaks of 5 points. First one is an incompetent teacher cannot help in really knowing the truth. Second point is because bahudhā cintyamānaḥ. This the highest reality, what is our true nature, is spoken of differently by different people. Differently by different. Subhash, you want to ask something? I see your raised hand.
Yes, Maharaj.
Hmm.
It's just like what Rick was saying.
Hmm.
How does even one know who is realized, right? So
Hmm.
they're not going to tell they're realized. Like Upanishads only say that one who says he knows, he doesn't know. One who
Hmm.
says he doesn't know, knows. So
Yeah.
they're not going to go advertising that I'm realized. So how do you
Hmm.
really know who is
Yeah.
realized?
Absolutely. That is a real problem. Real problem. Finding a real teacher is really, really difficult. But as I said that, after say after seeing their life for quite some time, if we find that there is something extra in them which we don't have, some spiritual quality in their life, then we may approach and see whether
Right.
they can teach us or not. Yeah,
And also what Betty was asking,
yeah,
can you take the help of scriptures only? In absence of such a teacher whom you think he or she is realized,
yes.
can you just take from
Yeah,
scriptures?
it might happen. It might happen, but we have to remember the paradigm little bit that we are trying reading Upanishad. Okay, in this paradigm, 3 things are needed: Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. Shruti means scripture. Yukti means logic. Okay, a kind of logic. We shall come to that. What kind of logic? It should make sense. First of all, Shruti is there should be it should tally with scripture, and it should make some sense. And Anubhuti, experience. These 3 should match.
Right.
These 3 should match. That if you are alone dependent on scripture, the problem is uh, the intuitive knowledge one requires to understand what that scripture is talking about. So scriptures are pointing to something. That what they are pointing to, knowing that is actually real yukti, real logic. Okay, that is the real logic. And that can be better shown by someone who knows the logic.
Right.
Okay, and Sri Ramakrishna, that's why I say that uh, mm, it is not necessary to know the scripture very well. One has to have the essence of the scripture. One should have know the essence of the scripture and realize the essence of the scripture. That is one thing. So only if you and that is why there is a problem, that if we in scriptural texts like Upanishad, when we try to read alone, we might get it totally wrong. Totally wrong. Translations, always do a very poor job, and even translations cannot convey. Even a good translation cannot convey the real meaning of the verses. A teacher can show you the connection. Maybe this verse is connected to something else, somewhere else. You have to connect these two. Then you will say, I now get it. Not only intellectually I get it, but I also understand it more with much more clarity. Much more clarity. That's why some guide is needed, even to read the scripture.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Punik, yes.
Swamiji, I see a comparison between like when you're learning music,
Yeah.
you could have a teacher who's a good coach, okay?
Yeah.
So they may not be a proficient artist,
Yes.
but they can work you through the exercises.
Well,
And then if you are prepared or you have the natural gift or talent or whatever,
you will
you
find.
can improve.
Yeah.
But only if you have that sincere yearning and the ability will it actually result in that. If you are sloppy about it,
Yeah.
you don't. And the same way, there are some people who are great artists, but they cannot teach you at all. You cannot learn from them.
Yeah.
And there may be many things you have to watch, but they don't know how to do the instruction. So the didactic part is not there.
Yes.
But if you are ready and prepared and you watch, you can pick up a lot.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm just thinking that this concept of spiritual realization has some similarity. Obviously, it's not the same, but there is some parallel that you can see.
Draw. Yes.
And that's why you need to know, if the person is a good coach
Yes.
and you do the effort.
Yes.
And in Katha Upanishad, no, isn't that what the conclusion was, that if you do the work, when it comes, you will see the signal. But if you don't do the work and the signal comes, we may not be ready, we may not be prepared to see it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So anyway, that was just the thought that came to my mind, and I thought I might share that and see what you thought. And this thing with Betty said about the scriptures, I like your point about the interpretation. So you use the scriptures, but to understand the scriptures, you need a teacher.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Okay, Paul. You raised hand?
He'll be right back, but I just wanted. No, there's no one else. So I just recently read in Altered Traits that it's beneficial to have a coach or a teacher, compared to not having that. Because even if someone has, say, you're on a spiritual path and you're having these experiences, but you find someone who knows a mantra or something like that, where they can like help guide you, like what it does to your brain is way more significant than if you didn't have that guidance or a teacher, kind of thing. And and Paul has more to say about that too. So I was just thinking about that, like any sort of like guidance, someone who's ahead of you can be a teacher.
Yeah, what I was going to say was that like another category of teacher who they may not be realized, they may not be super well versed, but maybe they are one or two steps ahead of you in some way, and they can help you out with something that they only recently conquered or learned how to deal with. That's another model of teaching where somebody is, maybe not the greatest teacher ever, but they have something that they can share with you that they themselves have overcome.
Yes.
Well, and the other thing too is it's not very easy to find.
Yes, right.
Who has had that experience. So where do you look?
Yeah.
You can go to ChatGPT or Google or whatever.
Or you can travel a very far distance, but to have a teacher who is in proximity to you, it's very rare. It's really hard to find.
Yes.
Competent teachers who have had the experience, and can like guide you in the right direction.
Yes.
And that kind of ties into what Betty was talking about too, about how like can a book or a scripture itself be your teacher? And in today's world, maybe everybody is not in close geographic proximity to a competent teacher, but we all have Amazon and we can like order books and find things online
Yeah.
where, if you have a little bit of discernment, you can compare different interpretations and annotated versions of the Upanishads or whatever. And
Yes.
you can learn a lot that way, maybe even better than with somebody who, down the street who claims to know something, but they actually don't.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Because sometimes that may do more harm than good. Like sometimes it might happen if not dealt properly. Okay. Betty, you want to ask something?
Yes, I wanted to say that certain teachers resonate with certain people more than other teachers.
Yeah.
So I think there's some kind of, depending on what stage of development you are, so to speak, there are some voices that will speak to you more than other voices. And like several other people have said, so we have the scriptures, we also have commentaries. And so certain commentaries speak to us more than others. And so to me, it's a very individualistic path. But maybe that's just my way of seeing it. But certainly there has to be some resonance between the philosophy even and the teacher. So it's a pretty complex thing. And I think to find a teacher is so rare and beautiful to be able to do that.
Yeah.
We should have such appreciation for a teacher and someone who's dedicated and available. Availability, because how much time do we have? I mean, people have their own lives and families. And I mean, I'm so glad to be retired because I can spend as much time as I want pursuing whatever I want. But realistically, we all have limited time in which to proceed on the path.
Yes, sure. Carmen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also believe that when you send your heart wish out into the universe and want a teacher, the teacher will come at the right time, and that there are doors and opportunities that arise based on your karma and where you're. I was looking for a teacher since I was 14. I read the life of Sri Ramana Maharshi and fell in love with Advaita. And then when I met Swami Shadananda 5 years later, I didn't even remember that I had encountered Advaita 5 years earlier. I was, but I had sent my heart wish out, whatever karmic path. So I think that that energy, and also our Swami told us to keep holy company. So all of us together supporting each other in a moral life, ethical life, talking about meditation. Well, I'm sure you're getting to that about how intuitive knowledge through meditation will come.
Yeah.
But I think that when you're ready, your teacher appears.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel.
Yes, that is, of course, many will subscribe to the view that from their own experience, that when they were desperately seeking a teacher, the teacher probably arrived. There is a saying like that. Or they were not seeking at all, but the teacher arrived. They are not seeking, but the teacher arrived. Teacher themselves introduced and helped.
I forgot I was seeking because I started at 14 and then got distracted. And then this wonderful teacher appeared, and I forgot to say, oh yeah, you started reading Vedanta at 14 and then you forgot.
Yes.
But still, I was blessed with that. And so was Jack. So thank you, Swami.
Yes. All right. All right. So that is one point, first point. And the second point was there is a lot of, there could be confusion about what is being told. The nature of our true self has been described in different ways. See even in India itself, this Upanishad, one particular Upanishad has been interpreted in a non-dual way, with duality, and also in between. So many, in various ways, Upanishad could be interpreted. So what is the nature of the self? This can be really confusing to someone, Bahudhā cintyamānaḥ. That's why we don't get a clear view if we are instructed by someone who does not have competence. Okay. So where to look for? So they would clear the doubts about the scripture. As I gave you the example of, that when we search for something nowadays, the problem is not that we don't have information. Now we have so much of information, and sometimes contradictory information, confusing information we might get, and we might think that probably lack of information was better. Now a great deal of energy is being used to understand all of this information, which can be trusted and which cannot trusted. A great deal of that. So bahudhā cintyamānaḥ, this true nature of our reality is spoken of differently. Now we have to remember that when they are spoken of differently, that does not necessarily mean they are contradictory to each other. But the language might differ from tradition to tradition, path to path, and that might be confusing to each other. For example, I have a sure conviction that what Buddha said, anatma, the void, nothing, is actually what Upanishad is speaking of as Brahman. Okay. Only it's a difference of approach and the language and moment, whatever the law of phonetics and things like that. Semantics, rather, I would say it's a matter of semantics, But actually, from the standpoint of realization, both of them are talking about one non-dual reality, which is non-conceptual. So since it is non-conceptual, Buddha is speaking that it is, beyond anything. It is nothing. It is nothing actually. It is absence of everything. There is no solid something. The volatility, the temporariness, this uncertainty, this is the reality. There is no actually fundamental something, no identity, final identity. Okay. And that is what the Upanishad is pointing to as the vast. Intuitively, if we think of that, think about deep meditative state or something like that, when our awareness is so spacious, we are not constricted, but feeling so much vast. At the same time, it is so non-conceptual that we can't say that it is this or it is that. So both seem equally valid, that it is not a thing as we understand, and at the same time it is something vast. Okay. So bahudhā cintyamānaḥ, it has been spoken differently, so it can create sometimes confusion. Sri Ramakrishna gives one example in Gospel. It was November 26, 1883. So Sri Ramakrishna says very lucidly, look, he says, looking at the Brahma devotees who had just arrived, the master said, quote, mere pandits, devoid of divine love, talk incoherently. Pandit Samadhayi once said in the course of his sermon, God is dry, make him sweet by your love and devotion. Imagine to describe him as dry, whom the Vedas declare as the essence of bliss. It makes one feel that the Pandit did not know what God really is. That is why his words were so incoherent. A man once said, there are many horses in my uncle's cowshed. From that one could know that the man had no horses at all. No one keeps a horse in a cowshed. Okay. So the point is, when we hear from incompetent teacher that we might get this kind of totally opposite message. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example that the Pandit was telling that God is actually dry. We make God sweet by adding our own devotion unto it. So Sri Ramakrishna says from these kind of talks, it is clearly understandable that the one who is speaking had never experienced God. It is just like one who has never known what a stable is, says there are many horses in our cowshed. So it means they neither had cowshed nor had horse. Okay. So bahudhā cintyamānaḥ. It might confuse us. Okay. Then it says that, but if ananya-prokte gatiḥ atra asti, proktā anyena su-jñānāya preṣṭha. If it is taught by someone who has realized their vastness, then there is no other result than knowing it truly. So this is the third point that these two verses are speaking about, the role of a good teacher, the role of a awakened teacher, role of an awakened teacher. Sri Ramakrishna says that a good teacher is like a cobra. A cobra, if it bites you, you die. That's it. But there are some kind of snake, Sri Ramakrishna says, water snake. They catch a prey, but neither they can eat, neither they can kill. So both of them, the snake is also in trouble, the frog is also in trouble. Frog cannot die, and that snake cannot eat it. Both are in trouble. Sri Ramakrishna gives this example in the gospel that an incompetent teacher will be like that kind of water snake. If they have taken them, they have taken you as under their shelter, you are also in trouble, they are also in trouble. But a good teacher, a realized teacher, if they catch hold of you, then gatiḥ atra asti. Then there is no confusion anymore, and there is no other. Gati means no other your destiny, no other destiny than knowing the reality as it is. So that is the role of a awakened teacher. So we have discussed, already about what we think about the ideal teacher. So I believe that as far as I have understood so far, that what role an awakened teacher plays in our life. Okay, what are the roles an awakened teacher play in our life, or a good teacher? In the absence of an awakened teacher, let us substitute the word awakened teacher, a very good teacher, or very advanced teacher. What role they play in our life? One is, among the many paths, they decide which path will be best for me. knowing me personally or having that kind of spiritual maturity or insight that talking with the or no, after knowing the seeker student for a while, the teacher can choose the right path for them. Among the many paths, what will be the best path for the teacher, a student? That teacher can choose. Okay, let us say that your teacher has chosen for you, follow Patanjali Yoga. Okay, Patanjali Yoga will be best for you. Okay, now, second role the teacher plays is, in Patanjali Yoga, there are so many practices, right? Yama, 5 niyama 5, then meditation and pranayama, asana, all of these are practices, and you will be overwhelmed what to do, to which extent, and what is most needed for me. A teacher can decide that. Among all these practices, what is now you need the most? Depending upon your position in that spectrum of spiritual progress, or depending upon your particular tendency, your samskaras, your conditioning, they can say that, look, among all these practices, choose this practice and this practice alone. And not only that, they can also probably highlight for you at what proportion you should do the spiritual practices. Okay. This is a very genuine possibility and genuine help that all of us who have our teachers, we have got from them. For example, Swami Shraddhanandaji, about whom many of you know, he was a charismatic teacher here at Sacramento for many years. He himself, after becoming a monk, got very much interested into studying the scriptures with commentary and all sophisticated arguments. There is a joy in that philosophy, right? And he got involved into that. He was very much attending the Brahma Sutra class with commentary, and it's a very academic. He was doing that. His guru, Swami Shivananda, he scolded him. It is not your time now to go into those classes. I am telling you as your guru, it will be harmful for you to go there now. So practice what I have told you. Time will come, then you will find the real benefit from studying it. And Shraddhanandaji always say that he saved my life. He saved my life. I would not have known. Similarly, Swami Bhuteshananda, who was our president, a wonderful monk and scholar also, and he was also similarly advised by his guru, Swami Saradananda, that after reading scriptures, people get caught up into the desire to read more and more scripture. This is called Shastra Eshana. It's a subtle desire to tell others how many books I have read, or even a satisfaction myself. Look how much I am reading. I'm reading this, I am that, and that can itself become a motivation, and subtle motivation. We may not even know that this motivation is actually not helping us in our ultimate spiritual path. So he said, no, don't do that. And later on, Bhuteshananda, who went on to become himself a great scholar, as well as a wonderful guide and person with very clear idea about spiritual path, he later on said that I'm so fortunate that at that time I was advised against pursuing the study of scriptures. That is how good teachers help. to choose the right practice at the right time. Okay. Third thing is a good teacher, since they have gone through the challenges, because 99.99% of success is through through efforts and challenges. There are extremely rare examples, like we quote like Ramana Maharshi or others, who are rather in rarity, that they were blessed with the insight as if without doing anything. Okay, this is not for most of us. So a good teacher, they have struggled, so every inch of the path is known to them. That's why they can guide us better, when we go to them with our problems. As someone who has good intellectual knowledge of the scripture, and if you go to speak about your personal problems, the real problems you are facing in following these teachings, you will see, you will not get much guide. You will get an intellectual explanation. Some concepts will be taken, and the concepts will be probably made very clear to you, maybe broken down to you. You will understand your problem through some concepts. Okay. But ultimately, you might see that your problem has not solved because the teacher probably was working only in the intellectual side of the problem. Okay. So they have not really struggled to probably realize these spiritual truths in their life. That is why a good teacher is needed. One who has struggled, and not only struggled, they have conquered many of the struggles and know the secrets. Plus, a good teacher should have a good understanding about the samskaras of the student. Samskaras describe everything. What we call in psychology that our conditioned mind, our habits, our likes, our dislikes, our ideas, our political ideology, all of these make us what we are. And all of these can be said our samskara. So depending upon our samskara, the teacher will be helpful to understand our samskara and accordingly guide us. Sri Ramakrishna gives one example that in a household, there are 5 children and there is fish. The householder has brought fish from the market. Now the mom will cook 5 types of dish, because she knows who likes what kind of fish. I mean, the fish can be cooked in different ways. Of course, Americans won't understand it probably. They probably cook fish only 2 or 3 ways. But in Indian style, okay, a cook can be cooked several ways, those who know Indian cooking. So the mom knows that which variety is liked by whom. But Sri Ramakrishna says one thing more, which we forget. And the mom knows who can digest which the most. So it is not only that I like it, give it to me, but the teacher may even understand that whether the student will really can digest it or not. That is what we see in very advanced teachers, that a student may approach that I want this from you, give me this mantra. I want this mantra. But the teacher might say, no, this is not your mantra. This is not your mantra. The teacher might take a few days to meditate and, get some insight about, and they may come up with mantra. And this is what we read in our books all the time, that people went to their teacher asking for something, the teacher gave rather something else. But that was the doorway for that particular student to spiritual life. So the teacher in a better position to understand who can digest what. Okay. So these, I think, is the role of teacher in spiritual life. Let me see whether any other point I have obstacles. Yes. Another thing is surely that is very important that teachers can imperceptibly inspire the student by their own life, right? When we be around such a person that who show such extraordinary kind of joy or peace or whatever spiritual qualities we value and we see in them, then just being around them imperceptibly, we also aspire for such qualities. And this aspiration for such qualities is itself is a great help in spiritual life, because the things that is being which are being promised are so abstract that we want to see some demonstration, right? If someone follows these paths, what actually happened to such person? Am I going to be a loser, or am I really going to gain something? To have, nothing satisfies until we see and feel on our own that if such a person follows this path, actually, at least this is guaranteed what I am seeing, right? That inspires us. So that is why the verse says that if a good teacher, if you have got, then gatiḥ atra asti. There is no doubt that you will reach the goal. And Shankaracharya always, he always comes up with some his own insights. He says this phrase gatiḥ atra asti ananya-prokte can be interpreted differently. We interpreted ananya-prokte means a teacher who has realized. He said, no, here prokta means if the highest reality is spoken of as nothing other than you. In this way, if it is spoken that the highest reality is you, if it is taught like this, then gatiḥ atra nasti, then there is no doubt about the teaching. Or gatiḥ atra nasti might mean that this is the last birth for this person. After that, there is no further birth. No gatiḥ means not going up, down, anywhere else. Okay? That is Shankaracharya's interpretation. But we can fairly take it as the interpretation that if we get a good teacher, then there is no doubt that we will reach our destination. Okay. Then the fourth point is very important, that mere logic cannot help. So why logic cannot help? What do you think? Why logic as we know it cannot help in our spiritual pursuit? Do you think so? Or if not, what do you think? Upanishad says that through mere logic, you cannot reach the truth. Okay. Yes. Just a minute. You have to unmute. Oh, yeah, I have to give. Yes, go ahead. And
well, like among the different spiritual paths that we've studied, like there are different logics that lead to the same result.
Yeah.
And one thing that can happen, like you mentioned earlier, like Buddhism postulates void,
yes,
whereas Vedanta postulates existence.
yes,
They are opposite, but
yes,
they're leading to the same result.
yeah,
And so one thing that happens on the student path is like we've talked about model confusion before,
Yeah,
like you mix up the models.
yeah,
Each model has its own internally consistent logic, but
right,
they don't agree with each other.
right,
And so I think that what this mantra of the Upanishad suggests is that logic alone is not sufficient. The logics and the proofs and the scriptures are only like the finger pointing at the moon.
right, right, right. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. Preeti, yes, Preeti.
Pranams, Maharaj.
Yes. Why do you think logic? Do you think logic is needed or logic is sufficient or not?
I find that when we're actually studying, like when we're studying the Upanishads, and we're, from someone like who knows very little, logic can help, especially, because we have like some kind of reasoning capacity.
Yes.
So, and that kind of raises questions.
Hmm.
And our faith is not strong enough where if my teacher comes and says, well, you are the self with a capital S, I don't automatically believe it to the point where I reach the goal. So logic and reasoning helps convince the mind to a certain point. But I also feel that when we're talking about the subject and not the object,
Yeah.
we're looking at something that is beyond the mind. And logic can only function within the mind as such and appeal to the mind.
Yes.
So logic will be limited.
Yes.
And it can never give us the final answer, I feel. So that can be bridged only by faith. I feel that you have to take that leap of faith that I do not know for sure. I cannot prove it, but I trust in the teacher and then go forward. And
okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So according to you, reasoning is needed to some extent, but it cannot take us to the highest. So reasoning can be a guide in the beginning and take us by our hand to some extent, but it alone cannot take us to the goal. Thank you. Yes, Mrs. Carmen.
So last weekend, I was at a retreat given by 3 Buddhist teachers. One was Tibetan. And Advaita was quoted because the theme was devotion to the sacred. And the teachers all probably have been meditating, 2 of them 50 years. And just like sometimes I bring in Buddhism to our group, they brought in some Advaita, which I was surprised, because it all came down to this same reality that we can't define intellectually. People who practice and meditate a lot and pursue the path see they come together. And even the Buddhist teachers were very accepting of me, and they knew I was an Advaita Vedantist. So, I know Paul just mentioned about not mixing. And I think that if you're new to your path, or you haven't been on it a long time, or you haven't had a teacher, just each person's different. But in this point of my life, just like I see the Vedanta Swamis can use some Buddhist wonderful references to the Eightfold Path. Some of the Buddhists are starting to find out that we have some pretty good things too. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Rick?
Yeah, so the young lady who spoke previous, I was thinking while you were talking about how do we define logic?
Yes.
And can logic be abstract?
Yes.
It can? Do you say logic can be abstract? Or does it require material to logically proceed?
Yes.
So the goal is abstraction. So can we logically proceed to abstraction? Or is there another way?
Yes.
So the question for me is not, are we being logic? Well, I don't even know the question. I mean, how would you define the process of logic?
Yes.
Do you require it? Logic is a material function because it's 1 + 1 equals.
Yes, yes.
But in the abstraction,
Yeah.
there's no 1 to add to 1. So how can you be logically proceeding to the abstraction?
True.
So that's my thought.
Yes, absolutely. You have nailed it. Actually, that is the thing. Why logic alone can't help here is logic always involves some concepts. Logic can be based on perceived objects with things we see, we have experienced, and that's why we say that what you are talking is illogical. If someone comes and say that, water is blue, all the water in the whole world is blue. We have experienced it is not blue. So logically we'll say, what are you talking about? But some things we have not experienced, but we can conceptualize, concepts. So logic also helps, like 1, 2, 3, 4, these are concepts only. And when we are applying logic, we are playing with concepts. But that reality that Upanishad is talking about, it is the only reality which is non-conceptual. That is, concepts cannot describe it. Okay. So since it is not a conceptual thing, so logic cannot go there, penetrate there. Because logic has to have some concepts to deal with. But the reality is actually, if you look at, all the indication is that it is beyond concepts. Yato vacha nivartante apraptyo manasa saha, from where mind comes back. Why apraptyo? So mind comes back along with speech. That is, we cannot talk about. It is unspeakable. What is the word? The better word? Things that cannot be expressed in words.
Ineffable.
Ineffable, yes. Ineffable nature of the reality. Ineffable. So our speech comes back, because speech also works within this sensory world or concepts. But that reality is non-conceptual. It is beyond concepts. So logic, that's why, cannot work. But a different type of logic is needed. That's why, that's where come the equation Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. Shankaracharya says he set the standard for judging our spiritual progress or spiritual truth. That the three things should align. Shruti, the Upanishad, what state it is speaking about, and my own experience. And even if I have not experienced, my yukti, my logic. What logic? Guess what kind of logic? What kind of reasoning? Any idea? It's a special type of logic, a special type of reasoning.
Is it inferential?
Intuition, intuition, intuitive knowledge. And how to get this intuitive knowledge? Mundaka Upanishad. Remember, Pranava Dhanu Shadohi Atma. The goal is the Om, and our mind is like the arrow. Mind is the arrow, And our spiritual practice is like the bow. And the mind arrow has to be sharpened. To reach the goal, it has to be sharpened. How to sharpen it? Upasana nishitam. Through upasana. What is upasana? Meditation. Meditation. Simple. Shankaracharya's definition of upasana. Upasana nama manasa player. So upasana means let only one type of thoughts flow into your mind and remove the distractions, other type of thoughts. Meditation, upasana. Okay. So through the a mind needs to be sharpened through upasana or meditation. That help us develop intuitive reasoning. Intuitive reasoning. That intuitive reasoning gives us a hint that there is a reality. There is a reality. Although I have not realized it so far, but I can intuit about it. Intuit about it. And this intuition really comes either through divine grace or many years of struggle, meditative struggles, through the power of meditation. Really, our true medha. Medha is a wonderful term in Sanskrit. Medha means this type of intuitive knowledge. Medha does not mean intelligence. Okay. Intelligence has a different connotation, buddhi. Buddhi. Medha means the spiritual intelligence, intuitive knowledge. And it comes through divine grace or after many years of struggling with our own internal organ, our inner life, Okay. So that is what, so logic itself cannot reach there because it is beyond words, beyond concepts. But we need a different type of logic, a different type of reasoning, and that is intuitive. And how we become intuitive? How can we develop our intuitive knowledge, intuitive logic, intuitive reasoning? Through the practice of meditation. Okay. And that is the fourth point. And the final point of the verse is Nachiketa, that you are the one so praiseworthy that you did not fall prey for all the enticing offers I gave you, but you stood your ground strong and asked this question indirectly: what is the meaning of all of this you are offering to me? So is not it. In fact, Nachiketa, if you look at when he denied all the powers, all the pleasant things of the world, when he rejected all of these, actually what he was saying was, these are meaningless to me right now. What are the meanings of all of this? This is a very vital, important thing in our life. Our spiritual life really starts when there is a shift. Earlier, we have been pursuing things like our career, trying to be a generous, a good citizen. All of these pursuits we are happily probably doing even, but suddenly a shift comes within. We ask this question: what is the meaning of all of this? Everything that I am doing, what is the meaning behind all of this? So those who can ask this, this type of question, that Yama, yes, I understand what you are offering me, instead of giving me the secret knowledge of our true nature, you are offering me all the distractions, these kingdoms and all the pleasurable things of the world, power. But what is the meaning of all of these offers? if I don't get to know what truly I am. Okay. Similarly, so this is what Yama is praising, indirectly praising the quality to ask this kind of bold and fundamental question. Actually, spiritual life starts with fundamental questions, very fundamental questions. What is this all about? Or what is the meaning of all that I am doing? Okay, all that I am doing. That is why Yama is praising Nachiketa. Okay, and in next two verses, Yama will say, even praise Nachiketa to the extent that Nachiketa is wiser than Yama. The teacher is telling that Nachiketa, you have shown more wisdom than me. More wisdom than me. Okay, we shall continue to explore the verses. Next Friday, the class is off because I'm going to Pittsburgh. I go there every year to give a weekend retreat. So a 3-day retreat, I will give there. And one day, Carnegie Mellon University has invited me to guide some of their students in meditation. So that is one thing. Young students, I will get to interact with, which I like. Yeah. So next Friday, no class, but the following week, we shall start from where we left. Okay. Any question? Go. We have anyway out of time. I mean, we are crossed the time, running above time, but still you can ask question. Yes.
Yes. Didn't Yama also focus on the determination of Naciketaḥ?
Yes, determination. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Determination to hold his ground strong. Yeah. All right. So let's end us here and have a good weekend and see you in 2 weeks. Let's say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace.